How much of the Olympics have you been watching? I'm assuming a good amount.
I work from home, so honestly, it's just something to have on. So I'll watch as much as they'll give me.
So the USA basketball, you've been paying attention to all of that as well.
Absolutely.
So here, let me throw this at you right away before we jump into the Tyus Jones signing and what it means for the Phoenix Suns, the Matt Ishbia recruiting, what exactly all that as well means. Do we like that Matt Ishbia is necessarily a hands-on GM? Let me just ask you this. We have two guys, and the two best players, I saw a tweet basically, and it said, man, imagine Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on the same team as they were tearing it up on Team USA on Saturday.
Yeah.
These two guys are given clear roles. I understand the basketball casuals, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that because they probably just don't follow the game as close as we do. There's a reason why Devin Booker is playing. He's playing a clear, defined role. Kevin Durant as well, although he's only played that one singular game. Last year, the Phoenix Suns had basically no roles. It was a hodgepodge. You can blame that on Frank Vogel. Maybe that's something that Mike Budenholzer fixed. I'm not so bullish on that either. Do you believe that these roles that the Suns have, obviously Devin Booker's not going to be a role player, but he's being clearly asked to do something, and he's doing it like a good soldier. Kevin Durant is putting on the cape and is not afraid to be now the alpha to LeBron James's what is at times 1A, 1B. Do you think that translates to the regular season or not necessarily?
Here's where I think it does. I don't know if the roles will be the same. Obviously, Durant, maybe. Booker, probably not. I think that the best thing that can happen from playing a set style and embracing aspects of the game that you're expected to own and to dominate and to consistently be responsible for is that it ideally can help this team build chemistry. That's the part of it that I think I'm more excited by. Is it was just so random and unorganized, frankly, on both ends of the court last year. Different schemes, game to game, week to week, month to month, different rotations, all of it. Is if Booker, Durant, and Beal can come in with a coach that can give them those roles, communication among them, and then executing it on the court, that will go a really long way. And I think that this Team USA environment, it has to do that because everybody on this team is great. The only way they're going to win is to buckle down and actually play those roles, develop whatever chemistry they can over the course of, a month that they're going to have together in Paris. So that's where I would like to see the translation over is just what are we doing? How do we do it together? And how do we make ourselves the best thing we can be?
Do you think that that's something you can really, because in an Olympic setting, it's just different. Everyone on that team is a star. Everyone on that team is a superstar. But it does kind of give Devin Booker the clear role of here's what you have to do to be a successful role player in the NBA. Fair or not, international, FIBA rules, NBA or not, whatever. But if he's able to clearly communicate that to a Grayson Allen, to a Tyus Jones, to even a Bradley Beal at times, do you think it's something that people are actually, or players are actually receptive to, or not really?
I mean, I think that, one, I feel like the role that Book is playing it and Durant, frankly, like it would be nice to see some of that stuff translate over. I've said since the season ended, I've said since the Big Three got put together, those guys are going to need to do things that superstars don't typically do. I don't think we saw enough of that last year for the full season, for full stretches of games. So just embracing that mentality, I think, can help, and having an opportunity to do a little bit of it is never a bad thing. I also think from like a leadership standpoint and a mentality standpoint and everything else, like Book being kind of the dirty work guy on this team, just like he was in 2021, I would think that at least kind of allows him to understand his teammates a little better, and get back to, okay, like this is hard. Here's what's like important about playing defense at the point of attack. And you're just some of those things that a lot of stars don't have to do. So it's hard to know, right? It's impossible to put ourselves in the heads of all these people and understand what's going to work and what won't work. But I would like to believe that a lot of these things are building the right kinds of habits and mentalities that this team just did not have last year, as they were just aimless searching for answers a lot of the time.
Let me ask you kind of a fun question here with Team USA basketball. And I didn't throw this to you when we pre-talked about it, and it really has nothing to do with the Suns. But
All good.
here's kind of my thoughts on this. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry have way more to lose than to gain in this USA championship gold medal run. Now, do I think that it can legitimately work against a LeBron James GOAT conversation, or a Stephen Curry knock him down his legacy a couple of pegs, or, oh, Kevin Durant, he didn't work with another superstar? Do these three guys, and I really put it on these three guys because they're what I was calling the three horsemen, if you will, of this generation of basketball. They are those guys. It's always Curry, LeBron, and Kevin Durant, all in the same biggest time slots each and every Saturday and Sunday night. Do you think that there's actually something to lose here? If they lose these, if whatever it is, quarterfinals, semifinals, in the finals, do you think it's a scarlet letter, or at least a stain on their careers, that they were on? LeBron, it'll be his second team since he was on that 04 team that lost. And you can say, oh, he's not a winner. That would never happen with Michael Jordan. Do you think that's a real thing? I guess that is kind of Suns related as well because of Kevin Durant. But do you think that's an actual thing, that those guys could be seen as, oh, those are the guys that really screwed over USA basketball?
Yeah, look, I mean, I personally am not always like a legacy talk person, mostly because my mind just doesn't work that way. Like, I don't necessarily look at it and say, this player, if you add up their all NBAs or their total points or whatever, to me, it's a feel of experiencing it when it was around. And then I guess, looking back historically, I got to lean on some of those accolades. But I personally look at NBA championships, all NBA stats, things like that, before I get to Team USA at all. Like you mentioned, LeBron is on that 2004 team. That's widely regarded as one of, the failure teams at what led to 2008 when Kobe got involved and everything else. But outside of LeBron, I'm looking at the roster now. I'm remembering that Dwayne Wade was involved. If you had asked me, I probably would have remembered that Tim Duncan was around. Besides that, I have no idea who was there. I didn't know Melo was there. I didn't really know that, Carlos Boozer. I know those guys aren't at the level that we ever talk about Carlos Boozer's legacy, but I guess my point is, like, we don't hold it against the individual people on that team. We kind of just end up saying Team USA failed. I would think, if anything, if they lose this year, it would probably be something of, should they have really gone so hard after Embiid? Blame that on Grant Hill or whoever. Did Steve Kerr orchestrate this whole thing right? It's his fault. I almost feel like if it happens, we don't know what the games would look like. If somebody shoots 2 of 25 and they look awful, we probably would blame it on them. But hypothetically, I kind of look at it like, in 2004, it became this whole structural issue. I think that's what we would see again, and it would be, the world's gotten better, and Team USA developmentally has a problem with AAU. Like, that's where I think the conversation would go. So if it's Steph, Curry, LeBron, I think it's probably going to be eliminated from their history like 5 years from now.
That's pretty interesting. I just find it at times, whether it's Jordan fanboys or Curry fanboys or whatever it is, they'll find any reason to hate someone. So I just, I put that out there a couple weeks on social media, and people did not agree with me, which I understand. It was the middle of July, and what we're trying to do is just to be interesting.